Welcome to the world of science fiction. I am Adam, your narrator where extraordinary tale come to life in joy. Their journey, her final breath was near until a human's touch pulled her back there, awakening the last thing the early winters remembered was the warning klaxon and the hiss of rapidly escaping oxygen now. As consciousness returned like a reluctant tide, she found herself staring at unfamiliar metal ceiling panels and breathing air that tasted of recycled dreams and stale coffee. Hey, their sleeping beauty, welcome to their land of the living. The voice was warm, slightly rough around the edges like worn leather. The Rayleigh turned her head, fighting against muscles that felt like they'd forgotten their purpose. A man sat beside her bed, his features catching their soft blue light from medical monitors. Dark hair fell in casual waves over one eye, and a 3-day stubble decorated his jaw. His smile was gentle, but his eyes held the weight of someone who'd seen too much space and not enough earth. Where her voice cracked dry as ancient parchment. You're aboard the stellar drift. I'm Finn Blackwood, salvage pilot, an occasional collector of frozen scientists. He helped her sit up, offering a cup of water. Found your ship about 3 days ago, drifting near the Carina Nebula. You were the only survivor. The water felt like liquid life flowing down her throat. How long she managed to ask. Finn's expression shifted, something like sympathy crossing his features. According to your ship's logs, about 200 years. The cup slipped from Talia's fingers, but Finn caught it before it could shatter against their floor. 200 years, the words echoed in her mind like a cruel joke. Her research team, her family, her entire world, all just now. That's impossible, she whispered, but even as she spoke, she knew it wasn't their cryogenic preservation system she'd been developing. Project Frost Dream had been theoretical, untested. When the accident happened, she must have. I'm sorry, Finn said, and something in his voice made her look at him again. I've seen that look before, the one that says the universe just pulled the rug out from under you. The alien's fingers traced the soft fabric of the medical blanket, trying to ground herself in something tangible. I was working on extending human cryogenic preservation. The systems we had could only sustain life for decades, but I thought I'd found a way to extend that indefinitely. A bitter laugh escaped her. Guess I proved my theory. Finn leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees. Well, if it helps, you look great for someone pushing 2 centuries. Despite everything, Talia felt a smile tugging at her lips. Do you always flirt with your frozen cargo? Only the ones who revolutionize human cryogenics. His expression grew more serious. Look, I know this is a lot to process, but you're not alone. My ship, she's not much, but she's home, and you can stay as long as you need to figure things out. Talia studied him, this stranger who spoke of home like it was something you could carry with you through the stars. Why help me? Finn stood, walking to the small window that looked out into the vast expanse of space. Because 8 years ago I was floating out there. 2 different circumstances, same feeling of being lost. Someone found me, gave me a chance to find my way again. He turned back to her starlight painting, silver highlights in his hair. Sometimes the universe takes everything from us. Sometimes it gives us a new beginning. Over the next few days, Talia learned to Walk again each step of victory against muscles that had forgotten time fins. Ship was a maze of corridors and cramped spaces, but she found comfort in its chaos. It was alive in a way her sterile research facility never had been, with its humming engines and creaking bulkheads. She learned that Finn had a habit of talking to his ship, that he collected ancient Earth music, and that he made terrible coffee but excellent synthetic eggs. He learned that she could recite the chemical composition of cryogenic fluid in her sleep, that she loved watching nebula, and that she hummed when she was deep in thought. One evening, as they sat in the observation deck, watching the stars drift by, Thea finally asked the question that had been haunting her: what if I don't belong here? In this time, Finn was quiet for a moment, then said, at times just another dimension. Like space, we all drift through both, looking for our place. Maybe it's not about when you belong, but who you belong with. Their eyes met, and Talir felt something shift in her chest, like ice melting under spring sunshine. In that moment, surrounded by stars that had watched her sleep for 2 centuries, she realized that maybe, just maybe, being lost wasn't the same as being alone. A warning light flashed on the console, drawing their attention. Proximity alert, Finn muttered, moving to check the readings. His expression darkened. We've got company. Looks like someone else is interested in your old ship. Talir stood, moving to look at their scanner. The research data, if someone gets hold of it, then we'd better make sure they don't. Finn set his hand, finding hers in the dim light, ready to write some new history. Talir squeezed his hand, feeling the warmth of it anchor her to this moment, this time, this possibility with you. Always. The emergency beacon pulsed rhythmically against the dark canvas of space, its red glow reflecting off the hull of an approaching vessel. Talir watched from the stellar drifts observation deck as her old research ship grew larger in the viewport. 2 centuries of cosmic dust had turned its once pristine white surface into a ghostly gray. Are you sure about this? Finn asked, standing close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from his body. We could just disable the beacon, let it drift. Thraili shook her head, her fingers absently tracing patterns on their cold glass. There might be others in their lower levels. We had prototype chambers. If there's even a chance. Finn's hand found her shoulder, a gentle anchor in the storm of her thoughts. Then we go in. But first you need to know who we're dealing with. He pulled up a holographic display showing a sleek corporate vessel approaching from the opposite vector. Their Horizon Corporation. They've got their fingers in everything from terraforming to neural networking, and they're very interested in preservation technology. Never heard of them, Celia murmured. They didn't exist in your time. Finn's voice held a note of warning. They're not known for their ethical approach to scientific advancement. The docking procedure was delicate, requiring all of Finn's considerable skill to attach their ship to their derelict research vessel without disturbing its precarious orbit. As they prepared to board, Talir found herself staring at her reflection in their airlock's polished surface. She looked exactly as she had 200 years ago, a woman in her early 30s with auburn hair and eyes that held too many questions but Now those eyes also held the weight of lost time. Your suit's pressure gauge is showing green, Finn said, checking her environmental readings one last time. Stay close to me, these old ships can be treacherous. They moved through their airlock in tandem magnetic boots, connecting with satisfying clicks. Against the metal floor the emergency light still functioned, casting everything in a dim red glow that made shadows dance like living things. Their alley led them through corridors she knew by heart, though now they were alien landscapes of frozen moisture and degraded materials. The main lab should be through here, she said, approaching a sealed door. The access panel was dead, but Finn made quick work of the manual override. The door groaned open, revealing a space that had once been Talir's second home. Everything was exactly as she remembered, preserved in the vacuum of space like a museum exhibit of her past life. Her coffee mug still sat on the desk, a lipstick stain on its rim marking her last sip. Research notes floated weightlessly, trapped in an eternal dance by the lack of gravity. A look, a Finn called, moving toward a bank of monitoring equipment. These systems are still drawing power from somewhere. Thea joined him, her heart catching in her throat as she recognized their readings. The backup generators, they were designed to last centuries, running on crystallized quantum energy. Her fingers flew over the controls, muscle memory overriding the years. These signatures, Finn, there are still active preservation chambers in the lower level. A distant clang echoed through the ship's structure. Finn's head snapped up. We've got company. Horizons here. They worked quickly, Talir downloading research data, while Finn set up portable power units around the most promising preservation chambers. They found 3 chambers still functioning, their occupants suspended in time, just as Talir had been. Their ally followed him, her mind racing. Then we use it against them, my connection to their past. It's not just memories, it's a bridge, and maybe it's a weapon. Finn finished, understanding dawning in his eyes. He grinned, that reckless smile that had first made her heart skip, ready to rewrite history again. Talir took his hand, feeling the strength of their connection grounding her in the present, even as her mind reached across time. With you I'm ready for anything. Their stellar drift cut through space like a shadow, its engines running silent as Finn guided them through an asteroid field. Behind them 3 horizon vessels followed, their sensors searching for their quantum echoes of Talir's temporal episodes. Are ready? Finn asked, his hands steady on their controls. Talir nodded, closing her eyes. They had discovered that she could trigger the episodes voluntarily now, using them like quantum flares to create false trails. Each one felt like diving into ice water, but the warmth of Finn's presence kept her anchored to their present. She reached into the past, pulling forth memories of test procedures and preservation protocols. The quantum energy scattered through space, creating a dozen false signatures. The pursuing ships split up, each following a different trail got them. Finn grinned, but his celebration was cut short by an urgent message on their comm system. Emergency broadcast from Colony Station Alios. A voice crackled through. Critical failure in primary cryogenic Systems 400 colonists at risk any. Vessels with preservation expertise. Please. Respond failure and Finn exchanged looks. It's probably a trap, he said probably. She agreed, but if it's not, Finn sighed. Already adjusting their course there. Things I do for love, the words hung in. The recycled air between them the first time either had said it aloud to Lear. Reached across the console taking his hand. I love you too, you reckless star. Chaser beyond the Frost Colony Station. Alios loomed before them, a massive structure shaped like a blooming flower. Emergency lights pulsed along its petals, marking the locations of failing cryogenic pods. It wasn't a trap, it was worse, the station systems were genuinely failing, but Horizon had arrived first. Their ships surrounded the station like vultures waiting to rescue the colonists into their own experimental preservation program. "You will never get past there. Blockade," a Finn muttered. "We don't have to." Air to Lear stood her expression. Determined. "I can use the quantum connection link the colonists' pods to the same temporal frequency I used in my research. Keep them stable until help arrives." "That could kill you," a Finn protested. "The neural load I have to try." She cupped his face in her hands. "You taught me that being lost isn't the same as being alone. Those colonists, they're lost right now. Help me find them." Their plan was beautiful in its recklessness, while Finn created a distraction by appearing to attack the Horizon ships. The Rayleigh would use the stellar drifts maintenance pod to approach the station from its blind side. Once inside, she could access the central cryogenics control. What they didn't expect was for Josiah Turner to be aboard the station. "Hello to Lear," he said, stepping out of the shadows of the control room. He looked exactly as she remembered. Preserved by Horizon's technology. "It's been a long time, Josiah. How Horizon found me first," he explained. "Revived me 6 months ago. They're not the monsters you think they are. They want to perfect the technology just like we did by experimenting on unwilling subjects." The alien's hands flew over the controls, initiating her quantum protocol. "What happened to you, Josiah? You were better than this. I woke up in a world where my daughter was dead, where everything I knew was gone." His voice cracked. "Horizon gave me purpose again. They can do their same for you." The quantum link began to form, connecting to Lear's consciousness to the colonists' preservation pods. Each connection felt like a thread of ice weaving through her mind. Through her calm, she heard Finn engaging with their Horizon ships, keeping them distracted. "I already found my purpose," she told Josiah. "In my home, the quantum field expanded, stabilizing the failing pods one by one." Lear felt her consciousness stretching, splitting across hundreds of frozen minds. Through the pain, she thought of Finn, his smile, his warmth, his unwavering faith in second chances. Josiah watched in awe as their emergency warnings throughout their station began to silence. "You did it," he whispered. "You actually found a way to control the quantum matrix." "Not control," Ertelier gasped, "fighting to maintain the connection. Share. We're all connected, Josiah. Past, present, future. It's all one moment, one choice." She saw understanding dawn in his eyes, followed by shame. He moved to the console, his Fingers dancing across the controls I'm sending out a signal, the right signal. This time the authorities will be here. Soon the last thing the Rayleigh heard before consciousness fled was Finn's voice over the com. Hold on, Starlight, I'm coming. For you. She woke to the sound of humming engines and the feeling of familiar fingers stroking her hair, opening her eyes. She found herself in their cabin aboard their stellar drift. Finn sat beside her, looking tired but happy. A welcome back, he said softly. Either colonists safe. The Federation arrived just after you passed out. Horizon's ship scattered Josiah. He hesitated. He turned himself in, agreed to testify about their experiments. Talir tried to sit up, but her body felt heavy. The quantum connection stable. Actually, whatever you did in there, it worked. The colonists are safely preserved until they reach their destination. And you, he smiled, touching her cheek. You're finally fully in their present. She could feel it. The temporal episodes had stopped. Her mind was quiet, anchored firmly in this moment with this man who had found her among the stars. So Finna said, trying to sound casually, I was thinking the stellar drift could use a science officer, someone to keep their quantum drives balanced, maybe do a little revolutionary research on their side. The pay is terrible, but their captain's completely in love with you. Talir pulled him down for a kiss that tasted of stardust and promise. Well, when you put it that way. 6 months later their stellar drift drifted through the Carina Nebula, its hull painted with fresh colors and its cargo holds filled with research equipment. Inside, the Rayleigh worked on adapting her preservation technology to help deep space travelers, while Finn plotted courses to the furthest reaches of known space. They had turned their ship's small observation dome into their living quarters, surrounded by stars that had watched their story unfold. Sometimes late at night they would lie there together, making plans for future adventures and marveling at the twisted path that had brought them together. Do you ever regret it? Finn asked one night, tracing constellations on her skin, getting frozen, losing your time. Talir turned to face him, her eyes reflecting starlight. I didn't lose time, she said. I found you. Some people spend their whole lives looking for their right moment, their right person. I just had to travel 200 years to find mine. Finn pulled her closer, and together they watched the stars will past, each one a promise of adventures yet to come. They had rewritten history, defied time, and found in each other something greater than the sum of their separate parts. The universe in all its infinite wisdom had brought together a woman out of time and a man who collected lost things, proving that love, like starlight, knows nothing of time's boundaries. It simply shines on, eternal and bright, guiding lost souls home. Josiah Turner, Talir whispered, wiping frost from one chamber's view panel. He was my research partner. His daughter was sick. That's why he volunteered for the early trials. Her voice cracked. She be long gone now. Finn stepped closer, his presence solid and reassuring. Well, save him, Talir, give him the same chance. You got footsteps echoed from their corridor. Finn pulled Talir behind a bank of equipment just as flashlight beams cut through the darkness. 3 figures in corporate environmental suits entered the lab, their movements precise and Practiced life signs detected one of them reported multiple preservation chambers still functional alert there. Extraction team Talir felt fin tense. Beside her his hand found hers in there. Darkness squeezing once they had planned. For this while the Horizon team was distracted with the chambers they moved. Silently toward the secondary exit they just needed to reach the maintenance shaft that would lead them back to their airlock, but as they neared the door, Talir's boot caught on a piece of floating debris. The sound was tiny, but in the perfect silence of space it might as well have been an explosion there. A beam of light caught them. Stop where you are. What happened next was a blur of motion and split-second decisions. Finn pushed Talir toward the exit while he turned to face their pursuers. She heard their distinctive sound of his pulse pistol firing, saw the flash of energy bolts reflecting off metal surfaces. They ran through darkened corridors, their magnetic boots making escape a challenge of both speed and precision. Behind them the Horizon team followed their shots, getting closer with each passing moment. The airlocks just ahead. Finn called, his breath heavy in the comm system. Once we're through I can trigger the emergency protocols. They won't be able to follow. They were almost there when a shot clipped Talir's suit. Warning lights flashed in her helmet.